This is FestivalPass Stories, a podcast series is told by the people who create and make festivals come to life. You will go behind the stage, kitchen, or studio door to hear the stories of passion and inspiration that started some of the world's most beloved festivals. Hear the startup stories and how an idea went from what if to what's next. All right, friends, this is the FestivalPass Stories podcast, presented as always by Dos Hombres, the award-winning artisanal mezcal meant to be shared. Hard to share, though. It's delicious stuff. It, of course, was created by Aaron Paul, Brian Cranston, and Mezcalario Gregorio Velasco in San Luis Rey in Oaxaca in Mexico. Have a drink with us at doshombres.com/delivery and get some merch while you're there too. Merch.doshombres.com. We love merch. Our guest today will talk about merch and everything else coming in around festivals. But first, hey friends, if you ever want to have that opportunity to invest in a product that could be the next Airbnb, I'm all ears. Learn why entrepreneurs and celebrities with exits approaching 10 billion have already invested in Festival Pass. You can go to invest.festivalpass.com to learn more. So we talk merch, we talk everything here on Festival Pass, but on the Festival Pass Stories, our favorite thing to talk about is the summer and music festivals. If not late spring music festivals, but I mean, is there anything quite like a festival in Atlanta outdoors with the music? Well, it's coming up fast and furious this weekend because, my friends, it's time to talk about Freaknik. And yes, my guest today resurrected this classic Atlanta festival and now has trademarked it. So don't try and put it on merch because it's got a registered trademark next to it. We're going to hear all about it and that business mind behind it. It's not just all the glory and glamour of a festival. It's the business behind it. And so, friends, all the good of the community is what this festival is all about. So please welcome the founder of After Nine Partners and the energy behind bringing Freaknik back to life. It is Carlos Neal. Carlos, what is happening? Yes, crowd goes wild.
Hey, everyone's. First of all, pleasure to be here. I love that intro, by the way. I was in my mind when you was giving it. I was like, man, say that 3 times fast.
Yeah.
Dos Hombres, shout out. So shout out to Dos Hombres. Yeah. Also shout out to Music FX, the company that's actually making this thing happen. So yeah, here I am doing what we love, right? It's so funny because back in undergrad, when Facebook first came out, right? Who remembers that? That's giving a hint on my age. They used to have these groups.
I remember when there was no social media.
Who remembers College Club? That's a throwback to that. But there used to be a group called I had a group called Nerds in Disguise, right?
Nerds in Disguise. But you were nerds right out in the open, weren't you?
You have to be unapologetically yourself, right? But I mean, obviously, one of the good things is, growing up in Atlanta, Adamsville, if you're from Atlanta, that's around the Bankhead area where Lil Jon and T.I. and a few people are from. We say after a while, I learned that you could be smart and cool, right? So It's not just skipping school. My friends were skipping schools with A's and 4.0s. And I was like, are you kidding me? How are you doing that? And so taking that into college, started college, went to Southern Polytechnic State University, which is now Kennesaw State.
Shout out Kennesaw State.
Yeah. And got a chance early on to really combine my passions for doing philanthropy and events by pledging the oldest Black African-American fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated.
Alpha. Probably the most famous. I would think the one that people know about more than any other at the HBCUs or anywhere else. Would you say that's like the flagship of Black?
Absolutely. We're the parents and the rest are our offspring, right? So we're the first and the oldest. You get into Dr. Martin Luther King, the list goes on and on. And, but all of us work well, and all of us work for a cause. So in college, we always partied with a purpose, and rather we partner with other, Black Greek letter organization, other Greek letter organizations, which just doing things for our local community, whether we was doing Big Brothers, Big Sister, Voteless People, Hopeless People.
Yeah.
Everything we did, we somehow walked that fine balance between social causes and also, partying with the purpose.
Sure.
And so I've taken that into my career as I've gotten older.
So tell us about After Nine Partners. What's that about? Because from what I saw, I know there's a couple. You're a partner and founder of a couple of media companies. I believe the other one is iParty ATL. But After Nine came about from running restaurants, nightclubs. I saw there was a cigar lounge, which is my kind of speed. And all of these different businesses led you to this. So tell us about that, because that's what led you to reignite this festival.
Absolutely. So started off iParty ATL, did a lot of First Found Weekend. I did a lot of clubs, every club in Atlanta you could think of. And I mean, I was, young. I said, if I'm gonna go out, I might as well get paid for it, right? So why be the consumer when you could be the retailer? So I kind of I was having my cake and eat it too. But after a certain round, like around 2017, ended up getting married, had a kid. And
congratulations.
I had thank you. I said, hey, I can't be out till 6 o'clock in the morning on the weekends. That's not a recipe for a successful marriage, right?
Yeah. You might be up at 6 o'clock in the morning with the kid, and 3 o'clock in the morning, and 2, but you're not sitting there at a banquette with a bottle of champagne in an ice bucket.
No. My schedule has
different
completely
bottle.
flipped.
It's a different bottle for the baby.
Completely flipped.
Popping different bottles.
From getting in at 5 or 6 to waking up at 5 or 6, right? Right. Completely different. But at the time, I had a couple of gentlemen's clubs in Atlanta I was a part of, and I had a restaurant with a notable celebrity by the name of T.I. And the name of that restaurant was Scales 925. And so, unfortunately,
I would have named it "You Can Have Whatever You Like," or at least that's what the menu should say on it. Right?
Well, his birthday was 9.
Too long.
Believe it or not, Tip's birthday was 925. So Scales was the Libra scale. So it was a play on his Libra scales in 925. And so, but then when that failed, I said to myself that I wanted to start getting into the next level of event production. And as such, iParty ATL, I kind of let my business partner that still does the weekly club scene. And I wanted to get into special curated events. So the name After Nine Partners was derived from Scales 925. It was after Scales 925. So it's After Nine Partners.
Aha. I like it.
Yeah.
And did T.I. stay involved in that business as well?
No. At the time, the social media account I have, After Nine Partners, were originally Scales 925. And he made a post, this is my brand, this is my name. And I messaged him, hey, I changed the name. And he was like, all good. And so this is a little history. Not many people know this. I mean, I don't even think I've told this story on in a public setting. So here we go. A
FestivalPass exclusive. We are honored and thrilled. It sounds like you're being smart and cool, so you can pull it off. So and you mentioned your the nerds in disguise, but I'm gonna blow up the spot here a bit, because I'm just gonna say straight up nerd, because you've got a master's degree in data science and machine learning and an undergrad in finance. But the machine learning, that sounds like you were heading towards a career in computer science. You were heading towards that kind of data-driven career. And there's a myriad of safe avenues you can take and paths to go there and make a lot of money and have a very nice living with stock options and everything else.
Of course.
It's a different kind of hustle. But you took the actual hustle route to the music and the festival business. And I know you do have a tech background. So take us from that the Microsoft days to the big awakening where you said, what am I doing? I got to go and follow my passion.
Sure. And I would say I've always lived two lives. Even when I had weeklies, right, I would work my corporate job in IT, and then additionally at nighttime actually do my special events that I might have. Ironically, it wasn't until I got to Microsoft where I really realized I could combine both. At Microsoft, they really embraced, whatever your hobbies are. And I became a part of the BAM, which is the Blacks at Microsoft. And when they really got to know
that's a FestivalPass exclusive as well. I've never heard that term before.
Yeah. It's a organization within Microsoft called the Blacks at Microsoft. And when they realized my ability to get artists and promote during the entire Black Lives Movement, I helped secure talent such as David Banner, Roland Martin to come to Microsoft and do internal talks on, race, culture, dealing with social issues such as police violence and et cetera. Book Todd Gurley, a few other people, Rock Nation, and Microsoft really embraced that part of me as far as producing events while also balancing my technology career.
Right.
So from Microsoft, I took a path because I'm still currently working in technology, which I will get to in a second. I took a path. I wanted to learn the other clouds outside of Microsoft. So I partnered with companies such as Inspire Brands, revolutionized their whole digital platform, how they ingest data from Google Analytics, how they analyze the data, leveraging my machine learning and AI background for that. But then there was another company, which was a Web3 company that was looking to push their, most Web3 companies want to be cool, right?
Yeah.
So there was a token company. They was all, centered around DEI, and they wanted to start producing festivals and tours. And since I have done festivals and been a part of a couple of tours here and there, that's really kind of like what took this to the next level.
Amazing. So then, where do you think that kind of brand of crossover hustle comes from? Take us back, perhaps all the way back to when you had the red and black lumberjack and the hat to match, or even further back to, when you were growing up. What was that? What was it like for you? Were you always doing 6 things at once?
I was single parent mother. My father came back in my life, thankfully, when I made it to college, and we really got a chance to reconnect. But from middle school to high school, it was just me and my mom, and so I've always had. I mean, I think the statute of limitations are up, but I lied to Hooters on Kyle Parkway. Told them I was 16 when I was really 13. I was working at Hooters, right?
Hey, who hasn't told a good lie in Hooters before? Oh my God.
I mean, listen. It's so funny. I mean, from Hooters to always working. I had a chance to work for the mayor's office of community technology when I was a senior in high school. So I went and got my A+ certification, and in college as a freshman, I'm making really good money teaching computer classes, all for a good cause, teaching students, seniors, helping to bridge the digital divide. That was the whole. Yeah. So it's funny because Mayor Campbell, he was the mayor that was against Freaknik, and not realizing there was a seed planted when I was 16 years old, working in his office, helping bridge the digital divide. And so always, hustling out of necessity. Yeah. And I'm taking that to this day. And you mentioned my master's in machine learning. My capstone project for me to graduate from Georgia Tech, I actually wrote a project on utilizing AI to disrupt the concert industry. So
okay. All right. Let's stay there for a minute. So this is the capstone project. And what year was that? Because everything is about AI right now. There's nothing hotter than people talking about ChatGPT and AI. Mm-hmm. So when were you doing this?
I was actually doing this in 2017, 2018.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't sound like that long ago, but in technology, that's 50 years ago.
It was.
But you were there at you were there talking about it then. So just give us the highlights of what that project looked like, and have you seen any of that actually be released across the ticketing and the concert platform, which definitely needs AI to help it out. I mean, we saw this with Taylor Swift. We've seen this with other artists recently, where the ticket thing is just a mess, and FestivalPass is doing a great job of tackling that as well. But tell us about this AI.
And it'll blur me out also, because I've actually built my own ticketing platform. I won't name it here to also support my endeavor. Because again, technology, right?
Go for it.
I can build my own. But I mean, really, it's just utilizing the base level mathematical algorithms to be able to do predictive analysis, whether it's using linear regression, k-nearest neighbor, any of the different, just apply like typical data science, whether it's neural nets, to be able to understand and be able to predict the customer journey. I mean, you see it all the time in Amazon when they're making recommendations, or you see it, in terms of, marketing, A/B, what are the profile of the consumers that are most likely to engage with your services? All of that can be correlated to a mathematical algorithms that can be fine and tuned in order to help understand what the customer, not what they did do, that's historical analysis, but what they may do.
Wow. Predictive modeling. Love it.
Thank you.
So then in your predictive modeling and all this, you looked at the past of Freaknik and then you bring it back. So why launch this? Why did someone approach you because of your background and your skills, or did you seek this out because you remember it from back in your high school days?
Well, definitely it's a combination of both, probably more so 90% remember it, 10% someone, opportunity. So, I mean, in college, like most promoters, we always did Freaknik parties. I had a house in the AUC with my fraternity brothers. We did big block parties, with different themes. But the way it really came up was I did my second big concert at State Farm Arena. It was called R&B Forever, and I did about 12,000 people. And a lot of the older promoters was like, "Who is this young guy?" Just literally jumping into the scene with no real budget. Utilizing a little money I saved up from my tech career, moving all these people. Unfortunately, due to a nefarious business partner, I lost, at the time, a significant amount of money on that. And, he kind of left me alone for a second. But luckily, during that time, I had booked an artist by the name of Teddy Riley, and he had a business manager by the name of Michael Bull Williams, who currently manages Keep Sweat. They just came off the New Edition tour. It's called the Legacy Tour now. And he really said, "Carlos, like, I sit back and observe you under pressure and notice like the calm and, and he said, I feel like you have the potential to be the next Al Heyman." And so he really embraced me. And I came by the studio where Teddy was performing, was there with Bull, and we were just thinking of ideas of what's the next event or show we could do. And that next event that after thinking about, first we was like, we could do a Busta Rhymes party, bring out Buster. We was like, I already had I could get any theater or arena or venue in Atlanta because I did State Farm Arena. Like most venues won't give you the venue unless you can prove that you've done it. So, we was at Fox Theater and I said, yo, what if we do like a Freaknik throwback concert? Right. And so everyone loved it. So I went and booked all these artists, Luke, everyone else, didn't tell them the name of the event. I was like, yo, we'll probably just do like a 90s throwback. I already knew I was going to call it Freaknik, but I didn't want for them to, increase their rates based on them being hot back then, but not as hot right now. Fox Theater said, what are you doing at the event? I said, I'm going to call it 90s, maybe Uncle Luke's 90s throwback or something like that. We'll see. The day the tickets about to go on sale, They said, Carlos, we need to know the name of the event. I waited till the last minute. I said, all right, I got it. I'm going to call it Freaknik Celebration. Oh my gosh. Fox Theater said, absolutely no. They terminated the contract. Literally done.
Yeah. Because this was infamous, not just a famous festival, but it was infamous as well. I know there's a Hulu documentary on it out there right now. I think it's called The Most Famous Party Craziest Party Story. Wildest Party Story Never Told.
Yes.
So you took a real risk bringing that brand back, even though you knew it was strong.
Well, they say God protect fools and babies, right? At the time, I was a fool. I will say that, to think I could do this, but I'm kind of like a vice grip. Like, the more you pull against me, the tighter I get. And so, fortunately, because when I dropped it, I did a Shade Room post. By then, I had let all the artists know. It went viral. And Akeisha Branch at Solaris Amphitheater, at the time it was Lakewood Amphitheater, said, hey, why don't you bring the event to us? They're Live Nation. They said, we want all the smoke. And so ended up doing it at Live Nation. It was the biggest urban hip hop. I went up against V103's Tycoon Fest. I went up against Streets Fest. We did 18,000 people. It was like the second biggest event at Solaris Amphitheater that summer.
Amazing. And this was 2019. Right.
And I say God protect fools and babies because, I convinced my dad to let me take a home equity line credit on his house to be able to, finance this event. And fortunately, it was profitable.
Good. I know. And
not insanely profitable, but it was enough. It covered expenses and got me out of debt from the R&B Forever concert. Like that.
Yeah, and that's tough. You got burnt by somebody you trusted, and to get back in business and do it again, and to go to trusted sources like your father and ask for that kind of loan is not easy. So bravo to you.
He knew I had a good career at Microsoft, so he knew if it didn't pay, he said, okay, he make enough money to where if not, it might take him a year, but he knows you've got some equity there. Yeah, and that's not nice stock to own these days is Microsoft. Yes. Personally, I think Microsoft is blowing Google and other people away right now. I feel like they're just ahead of the game in technology, and I've heard that from other people in the tech recruiting business and so on. So Freaknik 2.0, we'll call it for a second. Sure.
How did that change from the original, and how have you put your own unique brand and stamp on it?
For one, I made it to a nonprofit, Freaknik Fest Foundation. And, my goal was I've always said from the very beginning, this is not the Freaknik of the 90s, but a celebration of the Freaknik of the 90s. And so being from Atlanta, knowing the impact that Freaknik has had on me, and just the Atlanta music and hip hop scene. I mean, Jermaine Dupri just literally had a interview 2 days ago where he said, listen, people moved to Atlanta for Freaknik and they stayed. Freaknik is the reason why Atlanta became known as the Black Mecca. And so being able to be an experienced event producer here in Atlanta and can actually do it in a manner that's celebratory. In the 3 years I've done it, I've had, so all of the inaccurate prophetic, doomsday scenarios, knock on wood, never happened. No fights, no arrests, no issues, because I'm one of the only event producers who actually put a real budget, not just doing some club event, not just doing, some park pull-up event with no security and whatever the case. I actually put a real infrastructure, which, by the way, George Hawthorne, he was the chairman of the Springburg Planning Committee back in 1998 and is infamously known as the person that ended Freaknik by making a recommendation to the city of Atlanta to end Freaknik, has came back in support and joined us here at the Freaknik Festival and said, this is the manner of which it should have been done in the 90s. And had it been done this way, it would have been an amazing event. It generated $22 million in revenue in the 90s for the city. Imagine having that in a manner that is annual and the impact that can have on the city.
Right. And from a nonprofit standpoint, the amount of good that can come out of it.
Yes, absolutely. Which was on display widely during the pandemic. Tough times.
Sure.
I look back and I just, I'm glad that no matter how tough it was, I said, hey, we are alive. But the reality for a novice festival producer, I had just came off. So after Freaknik, I did Funk Fest, Wolf Creek, sold that out. Did Super Bowl in Miami, Welcome to Miami Music Fest, sold that out. One of the few promoters in the 2020 that actually did not take a loss in Miami because it rained that weekend, but we kept ticket prices low. We sold out in advance. I put deposits for over $400,000 worth of artists in the last week of February, and the first week of March, the whole country shut down.
Amazing. And that's that time in Miami. That was when Dos Hombres really launched. So they had a nice presence. Yeah, they had a nice presence down there. I was down there for a couple of events myself in my auctioneer life, which is I work with nonprofits and do auctions all over the country. And around Super Bowl, there's always some really cool events. Usually like a week before the event, depending on what teams are in it. It's like, oh, we're going to do a... this team is going to have their foundation's going to have a fundraiser. So come on down. And we had a really big night out at this private home on Star Island. And it was wild. And the Dos Hombres guys were there making cocktails. Jamie Foxx was running around, and there was 500 people at the party. And I grabbed him and I said, can you please, I'm like, you don't need to do anything, but if you just stand, it wasn't even a stage. It was like a riser. I said, if you just stand on the riser with a microphone in your hand, people will just look at you and they'll pay attention to you. and he's like, yeah. And he was so cool. He's like, yeah, man. He's like, if that's going to help us raise money. I said, oh, it is. They're not going to listen to me, but if they see you, they're like, Jamie's going to say something. What's he going to say? Is
it? I mean, it's funny because even one of the Freaknik posts on my YouTube video, somebody said, well, in the 90s, the celebrities did it and they had clout. You're just a regular old guy trying to bring it back. So, that is true. And I will tell you, I don't know if you guys plan on being in Super Bowl in Vegas next year, but my business partner on Freaknik, he's the chairman of the NFL alumni in Vegas. And there's going to be some really cool events that we're going to be planning that weekend.
Oh, we would love to do something. Maybe we could do a FestivalPass live from one of the, they do the radio row. They do all sorts. There's media all week, so there could be something really fun there.
Absolutely.
But look, you've had these relationships with some of Atlanta's biggest names. You mentioned T.I. earlier, and you also partnered last year with 21 Savage and threw a Freaknik birthday celebration with him. How did that all come about? And what other guests joined you? Because this was a gigantic event.
Yeah, and that was a promotional thing for the I want to say the Drake and the 21 Savage album release. They had a label budget behind it, and obviously it helped launch a very successful co-album that 21 Savage and Jamie Foxx. I mean, not Jamie Foxx. 21 Savage and Drake.
We all had Jamie Foxx in the mind. It's okay.
I know, right?
We can't help it. We can't help it.
Jamie need to make some more albums, right? So loved it back in the day. Come on, Jamie, where you at, brother? But yeah, man. So it launched it, right? And with that, they did it in 2020, and I tried to offer them a no-cost license to use the trademark because I'm very well of what a multi-million-dollar artist like, a multi-platinum artist like 21 Savage and his followers would do for the brand. And they rebuffed me in 2020, in which case, I made a post saying, hey, dope party, too bad I have to sue you. And it went viral. However, for the culture, I decided not to. Right. Because this wasn't a money play for me. This was just, hey, guys, listen, I've invested a lot of money and time and resources to rebuild this brand.
Yeah.
I mean, so much to the point to where when my father did pass away in 2021, I was so busy trying to produce that Freaknik. I didn't even have time to more. I mean, I'm literally getting out the hearse, doing contracts that I needed to have signed at that time in order for my attorney to do some stuff on Monday. You know, it's like, it was just, you know, so much. But going back to the, you know, I'm always have wanted to do this for the culture. I did want to do it at a venue like I did it in 2019 because I had to charge $60 ticket price. So in 2021, I ended up partnering with Morris Brown College, and we were you know, uniting on our restoration efforts. I had bigger artists. What was really planned for 2020, had the ticket price down to $30, and with sponsorships, I wanted to continue to make that ticket price to, you know, go down to 20, 15 to even this year charging $10. So even though 21 Savage team, you know, ignored me in 2020 and 2021, I said, guys, there's no more warning. You're breaking it back. You're doing it Freaknik again. I will sue you this time. And, you know, I don't want to, but I'm sorry. I have to. And fortunately, you know, the right people got involved, and we was able to work out a situation where we both actually co-produced that event together. And it was a wonderful opportunity. It was a little bit different than what I envisioned. Obviously, label budget, they can afford the celebrities. But in my opinion, it was more like typical Atlanta VIP club scene, where it's like, if you're in the cool circle, you're invited. Yeah. But if you're not, you're kind of like, man, I wish I could have attended. And I've never been a celebrity promoter. I've always been a promoter for the regular people. Mm-hmm. And so while it was a great look, you know, Tiana Taylor was out there, Lizzo, you know, obviously Drake, you know, was out there performed, Luke, quite a few other, you know, notable celebrities. It still isn't the type of event that I envisioned for Freaknik, which was great. But, you know, I think Freaknik should be for everyone, and not necessarily, you know, for those who may know a specific promoter or event planner who get an invite.
Yeah, Freaknik for all. But it's a good business lesson buried in there as well. You took a acrimonious situation, and instead of going nuclear on it, you turned it on its head and said, we can work this out. We need to work this out. This has been too long. And cooler heads prevailed. And you just talked about the success that came out of it and what you're building from that. Now in 2023, I see you some of your partners, MetaWorks platform is a sponsorship, Music FX. Tell me about those two. I also saw something you were talking before about the AI, but I saw something about an NFT wallet. So you're bringing the tech into the music. So what is that all about, and what is the big plan for this year?
Yeah, so I kind of started off saying, like, I was working for a Web3 company, and they brought me on as their CTO. However, so I was already building wallets, already building apps, already building a social Web3 app, whereas, you know, users can come to the app, they can engage with this, at the time, this specific entity. Unfortunately, the entity ran out of capital and resources, which, you know, they was also the entity that was going to fund the Freaknik Festival originally. You know, another business lesson, right? The universe works so crazy because I loaned this company money, you know, upside down $280,000 from this company, lost $300,000 of Freaknik 2021, which we can go into also. And, you know, I was just like, hey, you know, and I used up all my planning time. I was planning with this company from August until January, under the assumption that they was going to finance the Freaknik Festival that we're doing. And I said, hey, it's time to start writing checks. And they said, Carlos, we're not going to do it. So I had to let, you know, the Hulu and Mass Appeal team know that, look, fortunately, I'm no longer going to be able to do this event. I cannot put my family in any more danger. And luckily, I got in contact with MetaWorks. They wanted to bring me on as their CTO. And as they got to know a little bit more about my abilities, they was like, wait a minute, we have a division called Music FX. we're looking to do festivals and concerts, as a way of, creating NFTs and digital collectibles. And you have this Freaknik documentary you're doing with Hulu that I'm co-producing with Hulu. Tell us more about that. And miraculously, I was like, okay, I need capital. They said, we'll provide that to you. I said, I need to see if Hulu and their team can still come and capture the event. And they could. And here I am putting together a festival that normally takes at minimum 2 months to prepare in 3 weeks. Everybody hates me, by the way, on my team. They told me yesterday, I said, how do you all feel? Oh, we hate you, but
they'll love you on
understand. Yeah, they said, let's just get through this. And afterwards, we're going to have some choice words for you. So
yeah,
the saga continues.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, we'd love to talk to you about this more. I mean, you and the founder of FestivalPass should really have a cup of coffee together and talk, because and it could be over Zoom.
Cup of coffee.
Yeah, and spike that cup of coffee with some Dos Hombres. Make it a Mexicali coffee, no problem.
Oh,
but
love it.
We also launched an NFT as well, and it's been doing great. People are excited about it, and it's got an amazing utility to it. So this is a promo within a promo for us as well. Everyone who buys an NFT gets a lifetime festival pass, essentially a $1,500, $2,500 credit, something in there. Don't quote me on that. But every year you can get the festivals you want. You can use it for hotels. You can use it for,
that's amazing.
It really has a brilliant utility as long as you hold on to it.
Are you guys a publicly traded company?
No, privately held right now. And
I'm only asking that.
Yeah.
I'm only asking that because, at the other company, I sat on many calls with Wilson and Sassini, which is the legal firm that took Google public. And I spent 6 months in preparation of a public ICO and the difference between a security and a utility token. And so when you say, utility, I mean, it is all about utility, being able to reward consumers, being able to, but it's a fine line you got to walk between fungible value, because, all these artists, they're getting, they're being hit upside the head by the SEC because they're getting behind, but no, it sounds like you guys got that down pack. And no, I mean, this is the way, as the Mandalorian say.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you own a Mandalorian NFT, you're in good shape, I think. But yeah, the utility, I to be honest, it's all just above my pay grade. But then when you talk about a utility that comes with it, I'm like, now I get that. That makes really great. That's value.
That's the web 2.5, not 3.0 all the way, not 2.0, but it's right in the middle. People, okay, blockchain, what does that mean? But I can go to a festival with this?
Yeah.
I understand it.
Now I get it. I can go see my favorite artists. I can go spend the summer on festivals.
Exactly.
But I know we are also running out of time because you have this festival around the corner. So I know you want to make Freaknik for all, but let's talk about the ticketing. Is there a VIP ticket or something like, if I want to be in the main tent or something cool, or, tell me about the tickets and how do we get them?
Sure. So right now, ticket prices, I started at $10, sold those out. They're $15 now. We're about to go up to $20. We're going to cap it at $30. And for everyone that purchases a ticket, they're going to receive a commemorative 40th anniversary Freaknik NFT.
Oh, cool.
And I tend to stay away from the whole, with limited resources, I tend to stay away from the whole VIP.
Yeah.
Just experience, when you offer a VIP ticket and someone have to wait longer than they feel a VIP should, or there are certain accommodations, they tend, so this is a little knowledge to all, our upcoming event producers, festival producers. It comes with a certain amount of, if you're not doing it right, don't do it at all. But what we will do is everyone's going to be able to come in. There's going to be local DJs. There are going to be surprise performances. We're having indie artists showcase, because we want, the Freaknik in the 90s wasn't showcasing artists from the 80s, the Rick James and all them. They were showcasing the up and coming artists.
Yeah.
You seen photos. I just posted a photo of Tupac just out there, Freaknik, 93, just kicking it before he, you get what I'm saying? So, we want this to be a cultural phenomenon. We're going to have artists. We have local businesses, local vendors. We're invited community. So like in the past, I've had health fairs unfortunately, I can't put it together in two weeks, but the ones I've done in the past, I've done health fairs, I've done career fairs, I've done Know Your Rights, Safe Sex Campaign, domestic violence awareness. And, we was actually acknowledged by the state of Georgia for some of those works that we've done, through the nonprofit. So what people can expect is to come out there, have a good time. We have earlier today, we're partnering with TI's Trump Museum, Trump House Museum to do something earlier. And we have the festival. And it's really, for me, it's going to make sure that everyone get a chance to come out there. It's going to be live tape. I can't say what his content is going to be at. Let's just say they may or may not show up, in some promotion tied to Freaknik that they may or may not have heard of recently. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a really, really dope experience.
It is not your father's Freaknik. It is the new, friendly, for everybody.
Not family friendly.
Friendly. Did I say family friendly?
No, you did not. But you know what? My first
friendly.
PR partner said the family freak, and it was trending on Twitter for 3 days, like family friendly Freaknik. And I'm like,
nope.
Okay, I can no longer have someone else tell this story, which is why you're here for me now.
We're here for the bouncy castle. Wrong.
Is there licorice?
Yeah.
They're like, there is licorice, but not the type you're. Okay, let's stop there. Okay.
Where are the Where are the mocktails? Well, look. So what is the website, and also on social media, which is where everybody goes now anyway?
Absolutely.
How can they find out more about 2023 Freaknik?
Yes, you can go to freaknikfest.com. Freaknikfest.com. Facebook and Instagram is Freaknik Festival spelled out, and Twitter is Freaknik Fest because of their character limitations. And in case you hear this after the event on Sunday, we're actually going to be putting up tickets for 2024 on the same website, literally by the beginning of June.
It's really been exciting to be a part of this. Thank you for sharing your limited time with us. Friends, get your Freaknik on and get to ATL for this legendary festival with this modern spin. It's going to be friendly, but not family friendly. It's going to be a party. Do not mistake it for something else. And we will see you,
Future
friends.
Family friendly. Future family friendly.
Sure.
Future friendly. Anyway, I'll leave that up to your imagination.
And you can take it any way you want. And that's what the festival is all about. So, Calos, thank you so much for your time. And friends, we'll see you next time on FestivalPass Stories. This is FestivalPass Stories, a podcast series is told by the people who create and make festivals come to life. You will go behind the stage, kitchen, or studio door to hear the stories of passion and inspiration that started some of the world's most beloved festivals. Hear the startup stories and how an idea went from what if to what's next.